Hey good people, hola mi gente, MsMalcolmHughes here. Welcome back. I have a very exciting video for you all today. It will be new books that I've added to my collection. Most of them are from my trip to London. Let's get into it. So the first book that I want to discuss is the only book that I got in the States while I was there. I actually got this to read on the plane because I'm very interested in the topic and everything that's happening right now. And I believe that we should all be knowledgeable before speaking. So I wanted to read more about the history, what's been going on. I knew a bit, but I still wanted to check it out and learn more. And I think that's all of our obligations as citizens of the world. So the first book is The 100 Years War on Palestine by Rashid Khalidi. I've started it. I won't get into it now. That'll be for my review, but I will read what the book is about. In 1899, Yusuf Dia al-Khalidi, former mayor of Jerusalem, alarmed by the Zionist call to create a Jewish national home in Palestine, wrote a letter aimed at Theodore Herzl. The country had an indigenous people who would not easily accept their own displacement. He warned of the perils ahead, ending his note, "In the name of God, let Palestine be left alone." Thus, Rashid Khalidi, al-Khalidi's great-great-nephew, begins this sweeping history. The first general account of the conflict told from an explicitly Palestinian perspective. Accepted interpretations of the confrontation tend, at best, to describe a tragic clash between two peoples with claims to the same land. Drawn on archival materials and the accounts of generations of family members, judges, scholars, diplomats, and journalists, the 100 Years' War on Palestine instead shows that this war has always been colonial in nature, waged against the native population first by the Zionist movement and then by Israel, but backed by Britain and the United States, the great powers of the age. Neither a chronicle of victimization nor a whitewash of mistakes made by Palestinian leaders, the 100 Years' War on Palestine offers both a compelling family history and an original, illuminating view of the Middle East's most intractable conflict. So definitely hoping to finish this soon and come and discuss it with all of you. But from what I've read so far, definitely informative, and you all should consider picking it up. Okay, before I share all the books I purchased in London, the first thing I want to talk about is this bookmark that I got. Of course, it's Harry Potter. It's the platform 9 3/4. So I'm very excited for this. Just wanted to come and share with you all. You know I love Harry Potter, so this has been cool. But let's get into the books. So the first book I have is a big one. I walked into this bookshop and I bought 5 books and I'm still here for another week. So more books will probably be purchased. Where will they fit in my luggage? I don't know, but books first. All right, and so this book is titled The Fraud by Zadie Smith. I knew I would pick up a Zadie Smith book while I was here. I really wanted to just get one here. She is a British writer, so I wanted to pick one up while being here for sure. And I was able to get a signed one actually. So signed by the author, and then as this is a Waterstone book, it says this is an exclusive edition and it includes bonus material. So I'm excited to check that out. But here's what this book is about. Also, it's so like bright. I like the colors. In 1873, Mrs. Eliza Touchett is the Scottish housekeeper and cousin by marriage of a once famous novelist, now in decline, William Ainsworth, with whom she has lived for 30 years. Mrs. Touchett is a woman of many interests: literature, justice, abolitionism, class, her cousin, his wives, this life, and the next. But she is also skeptical. She suspects her cousin of having no talent, his successful friend, Mr. Charles Dickens, of being a bully and a moralist, and England of being a land of facades in which nothing is quite what it seems. Andrew Bogle, meanwhile, grew up enslaved on the Hope Plantation in Jamaica. He knows every lump of sugar comes at a human cost, that the rich deceive the poor, and that people are more easily manipulated than they realize. When Bogle finds himself in London, star witness in a celebrated case of imposture, he knows his future depends on telling the right story. The Tichborne trial captivates Mrs. Touchett and all of England. Is Sir Roger Tichborne really who he says he is? Or is he a fraud? Mrs. Touchette is a woman of the world. Mr. Boggle is no fool. But in a world of hypocrisy and self-deception, deciding what is real proves a complicated task. Based on real historical events, The Fraud is a dazzling novel about truth and fiction, Jamaica and Britain, fraudulence and authenticity, and the mystery of other people. So definitely excited to get into this one. So though I knew I was going to pick up a Zadie Smith book, I didn't know which one, and the rest of these books, similar to that one, just really caught me by surprise. I was walking through the store. I went to the Waterstones in Piccadilly. It is 5 levels. It's huge. I only made it to like level 3, and I was like, I gotta go. And I had already had too many books. But just while roaming and going through the different levels, I think I got all of these on the fiction level actually. So just while roaming around, I was able to like find some books that interested me. I took tons of pictures. I think I'll also make a video on that, like books that interested me but I didn't buy but I plan to check out in the future. So like maybe I'll make a video of like books that I want to add to my collection or books I'm interested in reading, something like that. But let's get into the other books that I purchased. So this book, the title just gripped me and never really let me go. And as you all know, I'm someone who, if the title grips me or the cover grips me, or if it's by an author I know I love, I will pick the book up, I'll read a little bit of what it's about, and then I'll skim through it a little bit to see if the writing captivates me and like piques my interest in any way. And all of these did. And this first one, it was the title for me, and then it was the writing. So this is called God's Children Are Little Broken Things, and it's by Arinze Ife Kandu. My apologies if I messed that up. I have no knowledge of this author before today, but I'm excited to get into this book. Look at the cover. Oh, the title and the cover are both stunning. Here's what the book is about. A man revisits the university campus where he had lost his first love, aware now of what he couldn't understand then. A daughter returns home to Lagos after the death of her father, where she must face her past and future relationship with his long-term partner. A young musician rises to fame at the risk of losing himself and the man who loves him. In God's Children Are Little Broken Things, this extraordinary debut collection, generations collide, families break and are remade, and lovers find their ways to new futures. So it piqued my interest, so I'm excited to come back and discuss it with you all in the hopefully near future. Next up we have Searching Sweet Country by Kotro Lang. Again, hopefully I pronounced it correctly, but just look at this cover. I thought it was captivating. What made me pick this one up though is that it says right here on the cover, the finest novel written in English ever to come out of the African continent. And that's a big statement, okay? That is a big statement when you have so many wonderful works. And When Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe is still in existence, okay? So I was like, I gotta read it. I have to read it. And reading the description and skimming a little bit, I was like, okay, we can read it. But here's what it's about. Accra, Ghana, the 1970s. In the streets, marketplaces, or crowded houses of this sprawling city, an unforgettable cast of characters live, love, and try to get by. An idealistic professor, a beautiful young witch, a wide-eyed student, a corrupt politician, a healer, and a man intent on founding his own village. Through their stories and those of the living, breathing city itself, Kojo Lang's dazzling novel creates a portrait of a place caught between colonialism and freedom, eternity in the present. Heavy stuff, but I'm excited to read it. All right, just 2 more. So this one is Fictions by Jorge Luis Borges, and this is a writer that I've just really grown to appreciate, especially on my journey of like mastering Spanish and really becoming fluent in that. And this is an author that I've enjoyed reading and learning more about. This work is in English, but I had to pick it up, and you'll maybe understand why when I read the description. Here we go. Jorge Luis Borges' fictions introduced an entirely new voice into world literature. It is here we find the astonishing accounts of Funes, the man who can forget nothing, the French poet who recreated Don Quixote word for word, the fatal lottery in Babylon, the mysterious planet of Tion, and the library containing every possible book in the whole universe. Here too are the philosophical detective stories and the haunting tales of Irish revolutionaries, guacho knife fights, and dreams within dreams which proved so influential and yet impossible to imitate. This collection was eventually to bring Borges international fame. Over 70 years later, it remains endlessly intriguing. Yep, that's that one. All right, and last but not least, this cover just made me stop in my tracks of like just roaming through aisles and looking at books. It made me just stop in my tracks. How gorgeous. And this is Afterlives by, I'm gonna mess this up maybe, Abdulrazak Gurnah. Also, not only was the cover stunning, not only was the back of the book captivating, but also it apparently was the Nobel Prize. It won the Nobel Prize in 2021. And you all don't know this, but I've really been contemplating reading every book that's ever won the Nobel Prize in literature, or for literature, and reviewing them here on the channel. That is not like a light task, so I haven't even talked about it here on the channel, but it is something I'm thinking about. So this was like right up my alley. And when I opened it up, the writing was really good. So let me read you all the description. While he was still a little boy, Ilyas was stolen from his parents by the German colonial troops. After years away, he returns to his village to find his parents gone and his sister Afia given away. Another young man returns to the town he once lived in. Hamza was not stolen for the war, but fled into it to escape a life of bondage. In the war, he has grown up at the right hand of an officer whose protection has marked him for life. With nothing but the clothes on his back, he seeks only work and security, and the love of the beautiful Afia. As fate knots these young people together as they live and work and fall in love, the shadow of a new war on another continent lengthens and darkens, ready to snatch them up and carry them away. These are the books that I got. I'm very excited to read them. Hopefully they were interesting to you all as well. Maybe you'll check them out. Maybe you'll pick them up. Maybe you'll read them with me. I would really love that. But that is it for me today. More book reviews to come. As always, I am MsMalcolmHughes, one who believes that books are sometimes better than people. And until the next one, please remember to give time, to be kind to each other, and to have the very best day of your life on purpose. Peace. Adabo. Adios. Ciao.